Time is running out. TikTok, you're almost out of time to get ready for the rush. Or many of you are starting to feel the start of the rush. This is so exciting. It's coming back, baby. The question is, are you ready to grow? That is what we're talking about today on Travel Think Tank. We're going to help you get ready for the rush and help you focus and remove distractions from your everyday life on today's Travel Think Tank. Our weekly discussion, it's a roundtable discussion designed for travel agents and suppliers to connect with one another, get questions answered, and grow your business. I'm your host, Pat Miller, part of the Hub, and my partner, Tom Brousseau, is back at Hub HQ. Tom, it's great to see you this week, my friend. Before we get into all the good stuff, tell us what's going on with you and Hub headquarters.
Hey, it's an awesome day. Number one, it's like 65 degrees in Wisconsin, which is a miracle for this time of year. So all the 2 feet of snow that was on my roof is slowly melting. So that alone has my spirits up. And just the fact that, really business and the phones are starting to ring. And as I said in today's email, the tide is rising. And I think today is a good day to kind of check in and really get level set on, how are we all approaching that? So yeah, last week was a great week. For those of you who didn't see it, I hope you all did, but we had Ray Sniski from Apple Leisure Group Vacations on a one-on-one with Pat Miller on Travel Agent TV. And that was really, really good. And we have more of that to come. We have some really great executive interviews that I am working on getting lined up so that we can bring those people directly to you guys on Travel Agent TV and the Hub to get firsthand info and to pair them up with Pat so we can get things from more of a Hub perspective or from our perspective as how we're looking at it with a lot of the top agents in the U.S. as a part of our group and a lot of great suppliers. So that's where we're at, my friend.
That sounds great. And if you are not a subscriber to Travel Agent TV on YouTube right now, check it out, youtube.com/Travel Agent TV. We're creating content and posting it there. And if you're a subscriber, you won't miss a thing. One other note, today's show is 100% interactive. So we want your questions, comments, ideas, and sarcastic remarks inside the chat. That way we will know that you are with us. So today we aren't doing an interview of some travel expert or some supplier. We're not leading a discussion where we're going to throw out a bunch of questions. We're really going to put our business hat on a little bit. And as you've heard me say many times, when I'm not hosting stuff here in the travel industry, I don't do anything in the travel industry. I consult small businesses for a living. And as Tom and I were talking about what could we talk about this week, we were really chewing the fat and thinking about how, things are going in the right direction and things are really going to be set off here in a minute. So the question is, are you ready to receive the rush and how are you doing? Are you built to grow? So in today's presentation, I've got just some thoughts that I would run through if you were one of my small business clients, and we would really talk about these sorts of things to see if you are ready for the rush so you can find your focus and remove distractions. So the first thing that I would do, and we're going to go through 4 different pieces in today's presentation. We're going to do an 80-20 focus exercise, or at least I'm going to share with you how it's done. And then you can maybe write down how it works and then take action on it because it is the most important exercise that I help my clients with. And it sounds really simple until you have to start crossing stuff out. So trust me on this, we'll get to it. We're going to talk about the importance of a time audit, which again seems really simple. I know where I spend my time. No, you don't. No, you don't. You know where you think you spend your time. You don't really know where you spend your time on the most part. If you are one of the few that does, way to go. Most people don't. The other thing that we're going to talk about is your ideal client and how are you doing on putting out to the world who you want to do business with and what niche you want to try and own. And then we're going to spend some time talking about messaging and how your messaging can get on point. So when people are starting to book travel, you can be doing the business you want to do, the stuff that's got high profit, high ticket, or, high volume, lower ticket, whatever it is for you. And we'll go through some of those things through the presentation today. Again, questions or comments in the chat. We would love to have you be a part of it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do the time audit. And the reason why we're starting with the time audit is Um, like I said in the introduction, I think a lot of people believe they know how to use their time and really know where the time goes, but I'm not sure if we're as in touch with it as we could be because the use of time is misleading. It's misleading for a few reasons. Let's take a weekly meeting, for example. Well, if you have on your calendar an hour-long weekly meeting every Monday, what about those times when it runs over? What about those times when it's canceled? What about those times when it's, really only 27 minutes, but it's scheduled for an hour? Do you really know where your time goes? What about the projects that you say you're going to work on? Do you know how long they actually take? Because stop me if you've heard this one before. You've got something on your to do list and you know it's just super important and it has to get done. And it just feels so overwhelming. There's so much to this task. You really don't want to do it. So you start inflating the importance in your head of this task. And it feels like, oh, it's going to take all day. I'll just do it tomorrow. But when you actually do it, if you were to record the time, you would realize it probably only took you 35 minutes or 45 minutes. It didn't take all day. So there's the repetition factor that goes into the misleading aspect of time. And there's the emotional factor of the tasks that make up your time because it's not just what you have to do, it's how you feel about what you have to do. And that's a real big part of it. So the use of time is really misleading. The second thing is doing an objective analysis of your week will really open your eyes to what you actually do every day. If you go to whatever calendar that you use and open it for the last month, and you write down on a sheet of paper how many meetings, how many calls, how many lunch meetings, how many hours did you write, how long did you do social media, how long did everything, a big list, bzz, big list, all the way down. You may end up looking at it and say, oh my God, I was on the phone with blank for 4 hours last month. That's not important because when you get a representative sample, it's like capturing a snapshot of your behavior all at once. And when you look at what you've done in the last month objectively, you'll find some stuff that you don't want to be doing that much within a month. It's one of those things that will be compounded when you take action and you look at how you're spending your time. The other thing you'll find are gaps and opportunities. Like one of the things I like to do is bunch my phone calls together. And we're going to talk about batching in a minute, but this is where a gap and an opportunity could be. Let's say you have a weekly call at 10 and a weekly call at 1. Well, move one of those calls so they're back to back. So you have a call at 10 and 10:30 and then you're off the phone. And you're trying to create big gaps of green space in your calendar. Because when you've got green space in your calendar and holes in your schedule, which is the next thing, you can start putting your own priorities into those gaps. We'll talk about that later in the presentation. But looking at how you spend your time and then looking at how you schedule the time that you choose to spend is another way to do this. So that way you've got as many uninterrupted hours to do whatever it is you need to do with your life all in a row. So, an objective look at your time, a time analysis of the last week or the last month, looking for those gaps and opportunities where if I take that meeting from Thursday and hold it on Tuesday, I'd be more efficient. Boom, Thursday is now open. Rhythms of your day and your week. Are you doing things early in the week that might be more effective at the end of the week or vice versa? Are there things you could do on Friday to make Monday better? Are there things you could be doing on Monday that you don't have to do again the rest of the week? Thinking about what you have to do and what the impact is on the rest of the week will really help make every successive day better. Because there might be a meeting on Monday that you need to hold in order to have the Tuesday meeting. Do you see what I'm going for there? You want things to be as smooth and as organized as possible. And when you step back and look at your calendar, you can start prioritizing when things happen. And then batching. If you're going to write, sit down and write multiple things. If you're going to make phone calls, sit down and make multiple phone calls all at once. If you're going to do your social media, get it all done in one fell swoop. What you don't want to get into is task switching. Task switching is like working in the kitchen for a little bit, then going to clean the bathrooms, and then sitting on the couch for a little bit, and then taking a nap. Like you don't get stuff done when you're constantly switching and switching from all the different tasks you have to do in the day. As best as you can, batch your tasks because you're going to do them more efficiently and you're going to get more done. Now, I'm not telling you at all what to do in this time audit. I'm just asking you to step back and look at how you're spending your time, and you'll see some cold truths on how you're choosing to spend your work week. And if you just rearrange things a little bit, you may find some flow. You may find some free space. And all of the money in our business is made when you have free space. Because when you have free space, then you can work on what's important to you, not what's important to somebody else that you're trying to service. So I encourage everybody to go through a time audit. And if you have questions on it, let me know and we will do this. Jennifer Walker wants to know, do you have suggestions on how to track time? Great question. The very first thing I would do is just a notebook and a piece of paper and look at whatever your calendar scheduler is. So I just track when I do a time audit, I will just get a piece of paper out because it's very low tech, doesn't cost you anything, and you can take action on it right away. Because if you're like me, here's what you'll do. Yeah, that sounds like this. I do this all the time. So I'm not like pointing a finger. I do this all the time. Yeah, that thing would be great. I really need to do that thing. Let me go find some software to make it easier. No, stop. Just go do the thing, right? Get a piece of paper, go do the thing, and it will help you get it done more efficiently. So it's a great question, Jennifer, but I wouldn't do any software for this. I would just use whatever your calendar scheduler is, and I would grab a piece of paper and I would go about it that way. Now, if there's a more efficient way to do it, you want to make this systematized, go ahead, but don't worry about software, in my opinion. Melissa's got a question. How do you handle follow ups and actions that need to be done after a meeting if you plan back to back calls? That's a great question. So let's say you have 3 or 4 calls all in a row and there's like 3 or 4 actions that have to be done. Provided those actions are in priority order. Let's say you need to do some computer scheduling, like you gotta build some itineraries. Let's say, well, maybe itinerary time is every day from 9 to 10 or 9 to noon or whatever it might be, and then you could have times in the afternoon where between 3 and 4 you're doing client callbacks. You see what I'm saying there? That's how you can batch up your time into the day, into the rhythm of your day. So you're not doing an itinerary and a callback and then an email and then lunch and then another itinerary and then another callback and you're switching, switching, switching. So when you build your actual ideal day, and we'll talk about this a little bit later in the presentation, I always like to find times of my day to do big piles of the same thing. That's how I would do it. Now, if that's not practical, again, you're the expert in the industry, but that's how I would encourage you to do it because you would spend less free brain space. And there are studies on this, by the way, that I don't remember off the top of my head, but there are studies about the inefficiency and burn that your brain goes through when you have to code switch back and forth on your different topics. So, yes, Jennifer Walker, my ideal day usually goes to heck when the first client call or email happens. Now, that's an unsolicited tip and something I wasn't going to put in here. I don't keep my email open all day. I don't. I check it a couple of times a day on a good day. Now, on bad days, I keep it open and I reply to people immediately. But on a good day, I'll open it, every other hour, something like that, and then batch my responses. So you're right, Jennifer. Sometimes there's a fire that you got to put out. I'm not saying don't put out fires, but if you can, schedule and it will make your life a lot easier. So great, great questions. Let's keep rolling here. Here's the next project. This one could be a little bit difficult, but it's something that I encourage everybody to try. Okay. It's the 80/20 rule. So we all know the Pareto principle, 80/20, right? That you're going to get 80% of your results from 20% of your efforts. We've all heard this before. Well, this 80/20 time analysis can take um, your business to the next level if you try and focus. Now, technically, this might be 70/30 for you, but if it gets to be 60/40 or 50/50, you're kind of missing the point. The objective here is to find out, what does it take to move your business forward? What do you have to do to grow the business? Now, that could be improved customer relationships. It could be more marketing outreach. It could be investing in training your staff. I don't know what it is because everybody's different. But what do you need to do right now to grow and spend the majority of your time on the least amount of tasks as possible? That's what the goal of this is. So here's how you do it. I would get a piece of paper. Again, Jennifer, low tech. See, I'm a high tech guy, but when it comes to this kind of stuff, I want as little between my thoughts and the capture of those thoughts as possible. Make a list of the top 10 things that you do, whatever they are. Call clients, send emails, research destinations, go to bridal shows, whatever it is, whatever your top 10 things are. Then, what are the two things, maybe three, that drive your business forward? Now, this is a growth exercise. This is growing the business. What are the two, maybe three things that grow your business? Then eliminate the rest. Now, Pat, I can't eliminate the rest. What are you talking about? I still got to do the other stuff. Okay, maybe you can't technically eliminate all of them, but be ruthless. Delegate the stuff that isn't in the top two or three. Hire a virtual assistant for way less money than you think to do all the other stuff, or still do them, but do them less often, or spend 2 hours a week doing them, not a little bit every day, like we just talked about. Or just, if you're not sure, just stop doing them for a bit. Just put them on pause and see if anybody notices or cares. That's part of this. We do a lot of stuff every day, and not all of them get results. And then we start telling ourselves, oh, well, I didn't do the thing today. Well, what if no one knows that you didn't do the thing? And what if nobody cared that you didn't do the thing? Social media is really a pet peeve of mine and often falls into this. Some people will find themselves doing social like a bottomless pit. I've got to post, I've got to post. And then they post and they get one engagement. They get one like. But hey, I posted. Really? Is that really driving your business? That 90 minutes a day or 60 minutes a day you're spending on social media? Really? That's what this exercise is about. Then repeat this exercise once a month. Pick out a Saturday morning or Sunday morning or whatever in your thinking spot and run this exercise again and think about, okay, where am I spending my time? What do I need to do in the next month to move my business forward? What am I doing that I can stop doing? And how can I delegate? How can I get stuff off of my list? Because then you're going to have more time to do those top two things that will move the business forward. So I see some stuff coming into the chat here. I'm just going to look over here. Melissa says, Jennifer, would you consider passing on that business to another agent or have an IC? Okay. That's one way you could do it is referring stuff out. So that's something. Turn away the travel planning for destination and budgets you're not interested in doing. That's what spawned the comments. Yes, exactly. That's the type of thing that we're talking about, which might seem silly to say up front, but it's those kinds of decisions that will help you keep your eye on the ball, especially if you're trying to build something bigger. So the first thing that we're talking about here is we're talking about the time audit. So you know exactly where your time is going. Then when you know where your time is going, we're talking about where should it be going? Those are two very important questions that you got to really know. Here's the next thing. And Tom, we're going to have some group participation here, so I'll need your help. The next thing is reconnect and run for office with your best customers. With my small business clients, I use the phrase run for office all the time because it's a shared cultural experience we can all understand. Running for office is just like a politician, thank God, without all the politics crap. Running for office is simply saying, hi, I'm Pat Miller, the travel agent, and I like to send people to blank. What do you want to be known for? Here in Milwaukee, if you're Rose Gray, one of the things Rose is known for, hi, I'm Rose Gray, and you should travel with us around the world. And she does these beautiful group trips all around the world with media in town. She's a queen at it. She's amazing at it. I've seen her do it up close with my own radio station listeners, something that she's known for, these group travel trips. Now, Rose, I'm not saying that's what you want to be known for, but a lot of people know you for that, and you're on the radio every weekend talking about it. It's beautiful. So the question is, what do you want to be known for, and how are you going to run for office with your best customers? So there's a couple of ways to get down to this, but if you were my small business client, here's how I would coach you through it. And this may or may not work for everybody, but this is something that I would do if we were working one-on-one. I would look at your best customers from the past year or two, and I would say, okay, what are they buying? My best customers, what are they buying from me? So I would review my transactions and my profit and say, man, I love it when people buy the cruise line, or I love it when people buy whatever it might be, whatever the product is, my best customers tend to buy this. Then once you know who your best customers are and what they buy, stop and then say, yeah, but I don't really like doing product, right? I don't really like doing destination weddings. I don't really like doing cruises, but I really do like doing this other thing. Great. Find a product that your people like to buy, that you love to fulfill, and then run for office on that thing. Be known as the person that does X. 80/20. If someone calls to buy a golf trip in Arizona, of course you'll sell it. Someone wants to go to Vegas, hell yeah, no problem. We'll do it. Cancun, love it. Let's do Cancun. But I want to be known as the person that does this sort of travel. It'll help you be clearer in your target market. It'll help you gain notoriety. And all of this is driving from, if you notice the bullet points here, who are the best customers that make me the most money that I like to work with? If 3 of those 4 bullets are fulfilled by the time you take action, you're off and running because you know it's gonna be good money, you know it's something that you're good at, and you enjoy it on top of all of it. And when you enjoy it, you'll make passionate recommendations and really connect with those customers that you wanna work with. So, Tom, I'm gonna take a pause for a minute here, and I'm gonna come back to you. So, obviously, this is where the industry expertise comes in, but is this resonating at all around some of the types of travel that you could be known for?
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. And just not just that, just stepping back to the previous two slides, looking at how we're managing things from a time audit perspective, and how the 80/20 rule works for us is huge. Because being in the travel industry, or being a travel agent, I mean, it's an exhausting, hyper tasking job, right? Just in the normal course of the day, like 27 different things are coming at you, and it's easy to get distracted. And I think that's really important to go through that. So then moving on to the question at hand is, within our industry, on understanding what we want to be known for and how to reconnect. We all have data, we all have customer data and booking history, and we also know everybody who would have traveled with us in the last 18 months who didn't, because of COVID, and because they had to cancel their plans, or they didn't contact us when we know that they almost always travel 1 or 2 or 3 times a year. So starting there for me is a huge opportunity, because I could probably make a list of 100 clients that I know are out there, and what they're likely to be interested in and what they're likely to buy. And then when you match that up against what's happening, from a product perspective, for example, Galen and I were talking earlier today about the cruise business. There's just a mountain of clients out there just dying to go on a cruise. And I have to get myself better positioned to communicate with them, and to be there when the rush comes, because the inventory could be at a premium, or if you don't act fast enough, you could miss out on the opportunity. So I think in our business, there's a lot of different aspects to look at in terms of how we attack it.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you for that. And we all get to choose. This is another thing that I talk about with small business clients all the time. This just happens to be travel. Ask the boss. And if it's you, you get to pick, right? You could run for office on whatever you want. And when you
Mhm,
pick out what your piece of real estate is, then you get to run for office on something that you personally really enjoy.
mhm.
They
And
say
then
that, go
oh,
ahead.
sorry, Pat, I didn't mean to interrupt.
It's okay. Go ahead.
Oh, and all I was going to say is that, given the hiatus that we've all been on, you get a chance to reevaluate, because maybe what you were known for before, isn't what you're going to be known for now.
Right.
And new opportunities are presenting themselves, like I mentioned with the cruise line, or one area of specialty, for example, that I think is going to be huge, is multi-generational family trips. I just think that with what's happened in the last year and a half, you know multi-generational families where grandma and grandpa haven't been able to see the grandkids, or they've been separated by distance, or they're sitting on a pile of money that they're itching to spend, whatever it might be. I think that's, so maybe before you would have never thought of being known for multi-generational family travel, But looking at the market and looking at the opportunity and what you love to do, you might say to yourself, hey, you know what? I want to be known for that because it's a high margin, you know, you know, high satisfaction business that I could be successful at if I really understood it and knew how to do it well.
And that's a great point, Tom, because we do get to kind of recast ourselves for a moment. And that could be doubling and tripling down on what you're already doing. But if you're in the romance travel game, are you Mr. Romance when it comes to travel? Are you dominating that space with something that you love to do? So it's an exciting opportunity right now because it's a chance for us to pause and, like we said at the beginning of the presentation, are you getting ready for the rush? And that's why I thought it was important to talk about this today. So let's say you found something that you love and something that you want to be known for. What do you do about it? So let's talk about the next 90 days, or once you decide what you want to be known for, let's go to the next 90 days. If you were my client, here's what I would tell you to do. I would say, okay, who are my centers of influence around those travelers? Now, we've already talked about mining your email list and going through your previous customers. We're going to talk about how to get in touch with them. You know how to do that. But one of the concepts I like to share is centers of influence, because if you're going after, let's say, for Tom's example, multi generational travel, well, maybe you hadn't really started good relationships with grandparents before. Maybe you hadn't considered grandparents to be a group that you were going after if you were focused on destination weddings, let's say. So, who are the centers of influence that you can start talking with to reach those people? Perhaps it's financial advisors, perhaps it's golf communities, perhaps it's clubs or associations where these people hang out and where they are, where you're starting to find out who else is trying to reach those people. So once you identify your centers of influence, then you start hosting events together. Then you start doing giveaways together. Then you start hosting promotions or marketing, co marketing with one another, but finding who reaches those same people and start running for office with them, with the concept of, exactly like Tom said, my parents, my parents have not seen the grandkids in person in 6 months. And if they could push a button and we all go to Disney World, you're damn right they would do it. They can't wait. So you find out who those centers of influence are and then move forward. Then, once you identify the ideal customer and engage them with phone and email and social, and we've talked about this, but I'm just bringing it up again because of this 80/20 rule. You may feel the need right now to reach out to everybody on your list because I want all the bookings. Of course, no problem. We all want all the bookings, but there's a different engagement pattern and focus that needs to go on those ideal customers and the ones you want to be known for. Then create a communication roadmap with them. So that's talking about news events that might affect these ideal customers, destinations and news about those destinations that they might want to know, videos and interviews about them that they might want to see, and basically thinking about, if you were a newspaper editor or a television editor for that destination or that style of travel, what would you send to just those people? You're really micro targeting this ideal customer and you're sending them the information that they need to make decisions on that ideal location. The other thing, consider an event with a virtual, consider an event either virtual or online just for them. Now, I pointed out Rose Gray before, but this is something that she does great when she's doing this group travel. They'll have an event, everyone interested comes in, and guess what happens? Big time sales. They've got this thing down cold. So if you're trying to sell golf travel, have a golf party. If you're trying to have a second honeymoon club, have a wine event at a private room at an Italian restaurant and make a presentation about the hottest second honeymoon locations. You're talking multi generational travel, get the grandparents together for a Tuesday morning coffee at 9 a.m. and plant the seed just for them. It kind of goes back to choosing your audience. You get to pick. And once you pick, you get to entertain and you get to engage and you get to get in front of them. And own it is the last piece. The heart of running for office is the concept of jumping out of the plane. I'm going to be known as the person that does the thing. And every time I talk to someone, I'm going to tell them I do the thing. I'm the multi generational travel expert, whatever it might be. The other travelers will come. I'm not suggesting you turn your back on people. I'm just suggesting that right now, in this time, in the next 90 days, that you take the time to get ready for the rush by looking at where you've been spending your time and organize it as much as you can. Then looking at all of the tasks that you're doing and what are the priorities that you need to accomplish and delegate or quit everything else. Be ruthless. Be be rude almost about defending your time because it's the one asset that we have that nobody else gets. Then go through and reconnect and run for office with your best customers. Who makes you the most money? What do you want to sell? And what do you want to be known for that you enjoy? And when you're selling what you love, as you all know, it just sounds different. And then once you identify that, well, then we go to the next 90 days. Who are the same people that are reaching those types of people? And then identify them, create a communication plan, create some events. And you know what? It takes some guts to kind of own it. I'm suggesting you own it and see what happens. So that's what I got for you today. If we were partners, that's what I would suggest that you do in the next 90 days to try and make sure that you're ready for the rush when it comes to time management, organization, and really optimizing your opportunities in the next 90 days. So that's what I got. So, Tom, what questions do you have?
Well, I don't necessarily have a question. I just have a thought.
Mhm.
And my thought is that, one of the purposes of the hub is, and Travel Agent TV is collaboration and working together to accomplish bigger and better things. And as you were talking, one of the things that strikes me is that, if there were 6 people on this call or 10 people within the hub that really wanted to do, as an example, multi-generational family travel. Well, this is the platform where we could all team up, where we can collaborate, where we can have a secondary workshop call like this one to say, okay, we have, here's the 6 people that really want to do multi-generational family travel. What do we need to do? Like, what are, getting the best minds together, talking through the roadmap, understanding some of the strategies, using our shared creativity, because coming up with all this stuff on our own in our own individual worlds is not easy to do. We don't have marketing departments or advertising agencies or a lot of resources. We have our own individual brains by and large. So think about the opportunity to match up with a small group that's interested in what you're interested in, and schedule a call, schedule a collaboration, and see if we can't talk through the how-to part of this and understanding all the steps, because I think that's where people fall off from the excitement of a great idea. The doing of it is not that easy, right? There's a lot of moving parts and there's a lot of things that have to be accomplished. And if we can all share in that workload, I think we might be able to be successful together.
Michael makes a great point in the chat about how today's grandparents would rather use their money and spend time on traveling with their kids and grandkids, which I think is brilliant. And this might be a thing in the travel industry, so please forgive my ignorance. But the things that come to mind for me is like a family travel time capsule. Hey, we're all healthy. We've got the money. Let's go make the memories while we can. Or a legacy trip, the kind of idea that, hey, you graduated from high school, let's go on a trip. That's a thing. You graduated from college, let's study abroad. That's a thing. Well, what if it was a thing that when you retire, you go on a family travel time capsule, or you have a legacy trip with the entire family while everybody is happy and healthy, because those are the memories that will be carried forever, rather than, to Michael's point, getting it from the lawyer in your will is not the same thing. That's not what people want anymore. Galen,
Right.
you've got something you want to add? Go ahead.
Well, I loved your presentation.
Thank you.
Time is the number one thing that you can give yourself or you can give somebody else, right? It's so important. So a couple of points from what you were saying is on keeping your email open all day. So my job is to travel. I am supposed to be on the road 3 days out of 5 every single week. And this is about to drive me crazy. And I could need some bail money here pretty soon. But I noticed when I'm on the road out making sales calls with my sales team, I don't answer emails from my phone. I wait till I get to the hotel. And then in about 2 hours, I can knock out my emails. If I'm sitting in the office with my email open, It takes me all day to do exactly what I could have done in 2 hours. So great point there. The second thing I tell my team all the time is you need to invest in yourself. So you were spot on when you said block your own time on the schedule, right? So you need to block an hour to do your follow-ups, or for my team, it's their reporting. And I'm a big believer in the fact that you need to block time to be creative. We spend all our time being reactive. You need to block time on your calendar, whether it's the first Monday of every week, 2 hours, on how am I going to go out and get new business, or how am I going to network with somebody. But give yourself the time to be proactive and creative. And then the last thing is, I think you get what you ask for. And if you ask for 3 and 4 night business, don't be surprised when the phone rings and it's all 3 and 4 night business. So ask for the multi-gen travel, ask for the Crown and Anchor Pass passengers, ask for honeymooners if you want honeymooners. And you know what? Ask for referrals. Take those very best clients that you cherry picked and ask them for referrals, because I bet they're a lot. And I love what Rose just said about being a financial planner, because we should all be just like that financial planner. They know what my plans are for my family and for the next 20, 30 years. You should know what your customers' plans are. Do they want to take a safari in 5 years? If so, when you see a great article in Travel Weekly, you can snip that and send that to them and just say, thinking of you. That's all you have to write, and they'll love it. So
those are great points.
That's a great point, Rose.
Thank you, Galen, for sharing. Now, Rose, you're talking exactly about centers of influence. Is that something that you've utilized as well?
I was very fortunate several years ago when a financial planner from Milwaukee, a rather large one, asked me to speak at their appreciation dinner. I was very surprised by this. I thought financial planners wanted you to keep your money with them, but no, they want you to spend your money wisely and to do it in a way that is going to provide you with memories that are outstanding. And so they don't want you doing ridiculous things like booking it with Costco. They want you to use the same caliber of service they are providing you with for your travel experience. And so I have probably done in the last 5 years at least 20 financial planners seminars, customer appreciation dinners, Zoom meetings, whatever it might be, telling people that you need to use a reputable travel advisor, just like you would use a reputable fiduciary financial planner. Another great resource are chambers. Absolutely. I just came off of a great chat. Partner with somebody. Partner with a cruise line, an airline, and somebody else, and do a return to travel. It's there. People are begging for that kind of information.
Now, that's great stuff, Rose. And I wasn't crazy about your travel nights, right? You guys do slay those travel night events, don't you?
When we can do in person, it was not uncommon for us to have 200 people at an Alaska night, at a Disney night, something like that. Now, on the other hand, on occasion, when we're going to do something very exotic, maybe in a very high-end Alaska, African safari, maybe India, maybe a river cruise in India, we will send out personalized, embossed invitations. I handwrite them to just the people that are on our VIP top list. Why would we put that out to everybody to come and eat the free refreshments? Absolutely no intention of going on this $10,000 Antarctica trip. Only your top customers get that private invitation.
And that is a great example of running for office. If you want to be known for that kind of travel, there's only a certain segment of your list that's going to appeal to that, and then treat them the way they would expect to be treated if they're buying a $10,000 trip. That's brilliant. Rose, thanks for the insight. It's really great to see you again today. And I would have to think, and Tom, tell me if I'm wrong. Again, this is just being the uninformed observer here. Isn't there a referral opportunity with the financial advisors and having real relationships with these centers of influence?
Oh, absolutely. And my financial advisor, he's always tapping me for referrals, right? He's always wanting to know who my LinkedIn contacts are, and he contacts me all the time. He sees I'm LinkedIn connected to this person, and he'll actually call me and ask me about who that person is.
Mhm.
They're very aggressive and they're very good salespeople, and they just know that they understand the sales process. So yeah, I think that's a super great suggestion to have it work the other way, because they have all of these clients that are sitting on their retirement funds that want to spend it. As Rose said, I totally agree. They don't want their clients not to spend the money. They want to fulfill their clients' dreams through the financial planning process. And the vacation thing is one of the big parts of that.
And that goes to you're both targeting the same person. So, as Rose said, team up with them and host events together, split a suite at the baseball park, or do an event where you can both talk to the same group of people and get in front of the people that matter. It's definitely an opportunity.
Yep. Awesome.
Uh, Today's conversation is something I would share with other small business owners. So hopefully it's something that was helpful. For me, the minimum of success today is to help you stop and reflect on what you're doing right now, because the last 12 months has allowed all of us to expand the amount of work we have to the time available. And as Nolan experienced as we were getting on this call, the phone's ringing, stuff is happening. Here it comes. So if we don't put everything back where it's supposed to go and get ourselves ready for all of this inbound opportunity, we might miss it. And Tom and I have been working way too hard to get you guys psyched up to go make a ton of money in the next 6 months, to not try and help you get everything back to zero so you can go capture the opportunity when it comes.
Right.
So that was
And
the
Pat,
heart of today's meeting.
you made a great point, and it's so great that our mindset has shifted, from where we were to where we are today. Because like one of the things that I've been thinking a lot about, in my travel agency owner life is I want to make sure that I don't miss a thing, right? I want to make sure that I don't miss the opportunities that are presenting themselves, because that'd be an even greater tragedy, right? It's like, hey, you know what? You knew it was coming. We've been sitting here for a year, and I don't want to screw it up, right?
Mhm.
So I've really been thinking about, what do I need to do to get prepared, and what are the right things that I want to be known for? And I think that's super good advice, and thank you so much for that, because when this is all said and done, we all have a chance to make a lot of money, and we got to maximize that opportunity.
That's true. That's true. So for Tom Brousseau, I'm Pat Miller. So make sure you subscribe to Travel Agent TV on YouTube. And if you've not joined the Facebook group, we'd love to have you there as well. It's facebook.com/groups, Travel A TV. That's the name of the group, Travel ATV. So make sure you come over there and see us as well. We'll post this conversation up there for everyone to benefit as well. So that's it for this week's edition of Travel Think Tank. I'm Pat Miller. See you next time.